Hey everyone, what's up? Today I want to show you something really interesting. There's this new AI IDE called Kiro that's actually developed by Amazon. It's essentially positioned as a competitor to ballpark AI IDEs like Cursor or Windsurf, but what sets it apart is its cleaner and more polished interface that feels somewhat reminiscent of something like Tray. Just so you know, it's also built on top of VS Code if you're curious about the underlying technology. Now, what's interesting is that it also attempts to do some things in a different way. For instance, you get the standard vibe coding functionality where you can request the agent to perform tasks and it will utilize those tools to accomplish things. But there's also this other mode called Code with Spec. It's somewhat like the planning mode you'd find in Klein or Roux code, where you can request it to first plan out the implementation where like the individual tasks or system architecture, and then it creates a markdown file and uses that as a reference guide to implement everything, which is pretty neat. It also provides you with a visual representation of which tasks have been completed from the requirements and similar details. Another feature that sets it apart is hooks. Hooks are essentially a mechanism to create an AI agent and have it automatically activate based on a particular change or timing. So as an example, you could set up a documentation agent where you can request it to generate documentation for you, and you can have it activated in various ways, like whenever a file gets created and so forth. Then it will automatically update the documentation for you, which is honestly a really useful feature in my opinion. It naturally includes all the standard autocomplete inline assistance and obviously the agentic capabilities built right in. It's currently completely free to use since it's in preview mode and you just need to sign up and that's it. However, they'll be implementing some pricing structure in the future, which you can check out on their pricing page. As you can observe, it mentions that the pricing is coming soon, but currently it's completely free with no particular limits, and it utilizes Claude Force Sonnet, which is fantastic to access for free. So anyway, just go ahead and download it and get it set up. It will provide you with the option to sign in. Just sign in and then you can import your VS Code configuration as well as choose the theme that you prefer to use. Once that's done, it will launch. And this is what the interface looks like. I have opened a blank folder here, and you can observe that rather than the typical blank screen, it launches this interface. Here you can choose between the vibe coding option and the specs option. I'll get to this, but on the left side, you can also see the standard VS Code elements like extensions, source control, and so forth. You can also install ClinRoux Kilo code and similar tools within it as well if you want to do that. But there's also the Kiro option that provides you with options to configure everything about it. In one location, you can generate specs here as well, and you can also create agent hooks here as well as agent steering documents. Agent steering is basically rules, and you can set it up to perform things in a particular way or something along those lines. You can also set up MCP servers through here as well, which is fantastic. To be honest, I really appreciate this configuration option because I don't need to search through advanced settings to locate the MCP option or anything, while here you can easily set it up. Anyway, you also get the autocomplete and inline assistance options as well. If you navigate over to a new file, then you'll see those options too, which is also nice. Now, let's try to use it as well. Now, back to the content. Let's begin with the vibe coding option. I'm going to give it the KingBench app and I'm going to ask it a standard question at this point to add a theme toggle for light and dark themes and make it function properly. It provides you with the option to use 3.7 and for Sonnet. You can select between them and then just get it started. There's also the autopilot option that doesn't require your approval. In a moment, it gets started and it's quite similar to most of the coders that you've seen before. You can also track the changes and so on as well. In a moment, it gets done, and you can see that it handled this quite well. It is quite capable at coding. I mean, at this point, most of the coders are quite capable, and since it uses Sonnet in the background, it doesn't have many problems. Also, the Sonnet here is much more authentic without any context limitations or restrictions that you encounter in most AI editors in order to manage their pricing. It makes sense because Amazon owns a significant portion of Anthropic, and they host Anthropic's models as well, which means they can handle the pricing much more easily without artificial limitations. Anyway, there's also the option of spec. Let me demonstrate how that works as well. You can just go here and then ask it to implement something. So for example, I can ask it to implement a proper database for this. And what you'll observe is that it will go ahead and plan the changes first. It will create a plans file for it, and then you can see the changes that it wants to implement. You can modify something in it, and then you can easily get this implemented. So this is also neat. Now, there's also another feature called hooks. For hooks, you can go to the Kiro option in the sidebar and then hit Add New in the hook section, and it will open up this Create New Hook option. You can just enter what you want the hook to do in natural language, and it will set that up for you. You can also modify it yourself manually and configure it accordingly if you want to do that, which is pretty impressive. These are the main options here. You can set up MCPs and everything as well. I really like it and was quite excited to use this because it is honestly quite impressive, like really impressive. I found the UI to be extremely well designed. It's not very overwhelming, and the hooks and planning options are also pretty solid. It essentially has a built-in taskmaster-like feature, and for now, it's completely free as well, which is pretty impressive. I found it remarkably good for a first iteration, and if they can handle the pricing and performance, well, considering that they have quite a bit of access to Anthropic's model and they host it themselves, then I think this might turn out to be a solid option, like Cursor or similar tools overall. It's pretty neat. Anyway, share your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel. These days I am bringing new tools, so stay tuned and leave a comment in the video letting me know what do you think.